Good afternoon. You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com. Or you can watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube at WCEG Network. I am Celeste Giordano, your show host for the Global Legacy and Wealth Building for the next hour. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. We also have some new platforms that with Apple, so make sure you go to the Apple Store at WCEG Network. We're also on Roku TV. And last but not least, our disclaimer, the topics and opinions are those of the show host and guest and not WCEG Network. Thank you for your continued support. And hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here for our season finale today. I have two powerful, powerful ladies that we have on here today. First of all, I would like to welcome one of our new guests, Tina Neely. She is an author, and you're going to hear me talk about her and formally introduce her. And Tina, we are so glad to have you on the show here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. And we have a seasoned regular for many, many years, Christine Martinello with the Love Box Foundation. And it's always a privilege and honor to host you as well as Tina being a first-time guest on our show. And I want to thank WCEG Network and Penny Rogers for this opportunity and this platform for this season. It has been a great season. We've had some amazing people on the show. We also did our first time with our military women, which was a phenomenal show earlier this month. And Penny, we just thank you and the board for WCEG Network for giving us this opportunity to speak life into the community. And so we're going to get started here today because we have a lot of things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the importance of telling people you care and spreading the love. But before we get started, I've been down a little bit with a cold, and I had the opportunity today to take a little bit of my time and got to watch the funeral service today for Rosalind Carter. And I'd just like to take a few minutes of silence for us to recognize Rosalind Carter, who was best known for being a leading advocate for women's rights and mental health. She was married to the 39th President Jimmy Carter from 1977 to 1981 when he served. And what a phenomenal love story that they have. So let's just take a moment of silence just to honor Rosalind Carter. All right. Thank you very much for that. And so how are you today, Christine?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Are you in the state of Georgia today, or where in the world is Christine Martinello?
Today, I am in Georgia.
Yes. All right. We're glad to have you. And Tina Neely is a friend and a colleague coming to us all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. And how are we doing up in Cincinnati today, Tina?
We're doing excellent. Thank you.
That's good. Well, I know down here in Georgia, it's a little bit chilly, and I can imagine it's a little bit chilly up there. And we just have a great show here today about spreading the love. And I really felt both of you would complement each other with this topic about spreading the love and the importance of telling people you care. What I like to do is I like to read Tina Neely's bio because it's an excellent bio. She's a newly author. So without any further ado, some might say it started with George Clooney. For Tina Neely, author of a children's book starring her real-life 350-pound Vietnamese pot-bellied pig, it was learning that George Clooney had a pig that reignited her desire to have one too. Neely says she had wanted a pet pig since she was a little girl growing up in the Cincinnati area, but learning that her hometown hero Clooney had one had an impact on her. Of course, she still had to pursue persuade her husband, Joe, but she says he was convinced when he said that the grandchildren will love it. Neely and her husband share 4 grown kids and so far 11 grandchildren who do love the pig and they call Bacon Bit. Years later, Bacon Bit would inspire a message for children of all ages that God loves them, the most powerful message of faith. Neely and her husband minister to underprivileged children and youth in Cincinnati and know that the message of their love and God's love is the most powerful for encouraging and changing lives. She didn't expect to become an author and a book illustrator. She worked as a sous chef when she unexpectedly lost her job due to COVID-required shutdown. As she sat in her as she sat in her backyard trying to write out a plan of what to do next, Bacon Bit demanded her attention, and soon, she says, the stories about him started coming. Story after story came out of nowhere with the same message: you are loved. I genuinely believe this is God-driven, and I hope you will want to come along and see where the Lord is leading me to serve him and share in the new incredible opportunity to spread the message that you are loved. Neely became a Christian after the birth of her own now grown son and was baptized on her first Mother's Day. Her walk of faith has inspired her life since that time. For decades, she has worked with youth alongside her husband, a youth minister, and together they have a youth discipleship program to help guide the next generation to disciple others. Through this program, she has been inspired to show how to nurture imagination and fill hearts with love. She also inherited her father's artistic abilities and creativity, studying graphic design and then expressing her creativity through interior and exterior design, as well as in her food career with baking. The Cincinnati resident's first book, Bacon Loves Everyone, will soon be released. It is the first in a series of children's books about Bacon Bit, and the Neely writes and illustrates. To connect with Tina, you can reach her at tinaneely.com on Facebook, and you can reach her at Tina Neely Author, and on Facebook, Tina Neely Author. So with that said, I apologize, Tina, that I'm a little bit slow here with my voice, but congratulations and welcome to WCEG Network. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So to get started here, you have a unique story about your book and your series and a wonderful message. And then there's a story about the pig. So why don't you just tell us a little bit of what inspired you and how this came about?
Bacon kind of inspired me. I was in the backyard during the COVID that was impacting everybody and thinking, what am I going to do now? Because I can't serve people food anymore. Maybe I'll write a blog. I don't know anything about blogs, but maybe I'll write a blog. So I'm just jotting down some ideas, and a pig has like 40 different sounds they make to communicate. And Bacon lets you know when he needs some lovin's. And that's what he kept telling me. And all of a sudden, this little story just poured out across the paper. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to write a children's book. And that was almost 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And I started to illustrate it, and I did it in watercolors. And I was like, that's not it. I'm going to do it digitally. I don't even know where the on button is, but I will figure this out. And with the right people surrounding me and showing me much love and support, I've come up with this, my first book, Bacon Loves Everyone.
Loves Everyone. Very good. So this is a children's book, so it's a story, but I understand there's also a message. What is the message?
That you're loved. And with, I just don't think we can hear that enough in our lifetime. I think that we all have our moments, and somebody may be going through a moment you don't even know they are, and just to simply say that you're loved might see them through. And that's what this little story is. This pig is determined to find his forever family, and he just wants to share his love, but he wants to be loved in return. But he is so focused on that he is kind of oblivious to the naysayers. And in the end, he gets the family that loves him forever.
Very good. So what drew you into writing this book?
I don't, it just came to me. I just felt like it was kind of God driven. Like the message was there, like people need to hear that they're loved. And I, as a young person, and even as an adult, I struggled with spelling. So I had lots of good stories inside, but I was always embarrassed to write them out because I couldn't spell them correctly. And I was reading another author's, and he had mentioned that he couldn't read well. And so the first picture book he made was without words. And he said, then somebody told him, surround yourself with people that can do the things that you can't so that you can excel at the things that you can. And this was my opportunity to do that. I was just like, I've waited too long in life and it's just time to just do this. So that's where it's from.
So your main character is based on your real pet pig. Do you identify with Bacon in the story, and why?
I did have an aha moment. I did not realize that. I did not realize that until probably about a week ago. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm the pig. I think, and I felt invisible a lot of times as a young person. And I just felt like if there was somebody around me, I mean, I loved myself enough to know, and I knew that Jesus loved me, that there'll be people that you come across that don't particularly care for you, but you'll just move on. You'll just move on to the next person till you find that person that fit where you belong. And I was speaking with another associate and it just clicked. I was like, oh my gosh, Bacon is me. That is my story in life. Like I have gone to and felt like I've been not accepted for who I am. And I would be like, that's okay. I know I'm a good person. I'm just going to move on until I find my right group. And so, yes, I definitely identify as Bacon.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the ministry you and your husband have with the city kids near you.
So 3 years ago, at the age of 62, my husband went back to school. And I was just, it made my heart so proud. He wanted to be able to assist our church because our pastor of over 3 decades was retiring. And we were kind of floundering in the middle of trying to find a new pastor. And my husband said, I'm just going to go back to school. He said, and I'll fill in where I can. While he was at school, they assigned him a project of creating a discipleship program. And he went back to them and said, may I do it with the youth? And they kind of smiled at him and said, you can try, but it's really hard these days to get the youth to want to be a part of something of that nature. And my husband has done an outreach ministry through martial arts for decades. So he kind of rallied a few of those kids up before practice. He sat them down to feed them. And then he said, hey, how about we do this discipleship? Let me teach you about Jesus so that you can teach others about him. And that's how we started. And it has been a true blessing to both of us.
What does that mean to you in your heart with that?
I have never felt so appreciative of being put in a situation like this. Like you just take a lot of things for granted when you're working with these inner city kids and you see them basically raising themselves and they're willing to do what it takes to find out more about the Lord at such a young age. It's just a total privilege. I just feel very blessed to be a part of that.
So how does becoming an author illustrator at this stage in life tie into your ministry?
So when I wrote this book, I told my husband I wanted to try to come up with something that I would be able to do for my retirement years that would help us out financially. I said, but we only need so much. I said, but I want this little guy to be turned into stuffed animals, to be on t-shirts, to be tucked under arms. I said, and I want to be able to use that money to help put something together for these kids in this community. so that will help us financially be able to support them. That's the goal long term.
That's absolutely. And you and your husband are doing amazing things and with the inner city youth there in Cincinnati. Have you always wanted to be a writer?
When I was in college, I enjoyed writing. I was in a women's studies program and we wrote stories in there, and I did enjoy that. It was on my bucket list. I've had a lot of things on my list. I'm a jack of all trades and master of none, but I'll try a little bit of anything for a while. So yes.
So what do you do when a new idea pops into your head and you're already working on a book?
I will either speak it into my phone so I don't forget, or I'll jot it down on a piece of paper, and then I'll sketch a little illustration that I think would apply to that, so that I can go back to it later.
So, have you always wanted to have a pig?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what's next for Bacon?
Well, I'm hoping he'll be as famous as George one day. He'll be the next celebrity of Cincinnati. I have probably 6 books in the works right now, so it will be continuous stories about bacon.
I got you. So this is a children's book. Do you also do appearances in schools and children's events?
Yes, that is the goal. I have started off with a school that I used to work for. So they were the first people that I launched the book with, and they inspired me to keep going because they enjoyed it so much.
So it sounds like the future is bright for you and Bacon, and we understand the book isn't out yet, but where will people be able to get the book when it is available?
So it will be available on my website, which is tinaneely.com, along with Amazon. And then I'm going to make an offer for your viewers till Friday. It will be up on the homepage of my website that they have an opportunity, if they register their information, to win a copy of the book when it comes out.
Oh, okay. So in other words, audience and listeners, for those listening here today, that if you go to tinaneely.com, is that correct, Tina?
Correct. Yes.
And there is a link there that you can register, and you're going to be giving away 1 complimentary copy to those that register for our listeners at.
It'll be a drawing for one.
There'll be a drawing for WCEG Network, and we're very much appreciative and grateful for that. And I think also, if people want to get a hold of you, you are on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn. And I think Bacon has his own Facebook page as well, does he not?
Yes.
Absolutely. And is there anything else you'd like for people to take away from your book?
Just that, to spread that message, that, like, don't hold that in. When you have an opportunity to tell somebody you love them, tell them that you love them. We just had a very tragic situation in our church this past week with a few of our youth that we are discipling to. Their mother was killed in a crosswalk at 33 years of age. And the boy said, at least I got to tell my mom I loved her before she left. Because you just never know. You just never know when you're going to draw that last breath. And I just think it's important that we always take the opportunity to say, I love you.
Absolutely. And you have that book in front of you. Can you put it up to the screen for our audience? And because this is via Zoom, it's Bacon Loves Everyone. It's a great opportunity. Tina Neely, TINANEELY. And it's a great book. It's a great story. And as you heard Tina say, she's got 6 more books in the works, which we're very excited for that. And, you know, Christine, you're coming from Love. And before we get to you, what are your comments about Bacon Loves Everybody?
Well, first of all, Tina, congratulations. And I just want you to know, I'm an author of 5 books and 2 products. And your first book, baby, is such a dear, close thing to your heart. And so thank you for the perseverance and listening to the call that you were given. And what I hear that I'm so thankful for is that your calling and your career now are blending. And that's a beautiful, sacred space to be in. And so I just want to really be encouraging in that, keep going. And I'm really glad to hear what you're doing, because the world so needs to hear and know love from both God and just for us to spread love in families and schools and communities. We have seen, and we live in a time where we see what it's like to have such a lack of love and respect. And I oftentimes tell my love agents, there's forces going on. And so as the force of evil and chaos rises up, we need the force of love to continually rise up higher. And while people think, oh, it just happens, it doesn't just happen. It takes intentional thought, words, actions, and love being compassion in action. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So do you have any last minute words or anything, Tina, that you'd like to share with our audience about Bacon Loves Everyone?
I just hope that everybody enjoys it, and I hope that they'll pass it on to their little ones. I think it's going to be a great bedtime story for people to share with little ones. One of the young men that heard the story approached me and said, "So, is my book ready for me yet?" So I thought that was very sweet. And once the kids hear the little ditty inside, they tend to sing it over and over again. So some of you may not be happy with me once they get it in their head and they keep reading it over and over. But that's it. Thank you.
Absolutely, Tina. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Okay. All right. Christine, I'm sorry. We are going to get started here with the Love Box. And can you tell us, before we get started, I'm going to ask you, because I am losing my voice, I'm going to ask you to just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know our audience has heard you before, but I'm sure we have some new people on here today listening to us. And so could you tell a little bit about Christine Martinello and the Love Box, please?
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be with you again. I am Christine Martinello, and I am the founder of the Love Box Foundation and CEO of Training Solutions International. And so I've been at training about leadership, love, and life balancing for over 25 years. And I am honored to be able to now, for the last 9 years, work in the space of leading a love movement and spreading love. And so personally, I am married to Bob. We've been married now for 31 years. I have traveled to many states. I've lived abroad for a long time and have been to over 25 countries. After 25, I said, what's the point of counting anymore? I've just been around the world a few times. And so I've seen a lot. I've done a lot, and now am very intentional about my space being spreading love in both schools and with children and families. So that's a little bit about me personally. I have 3 20-something children, and you'll hear some more stories, but I have spent a lifetime living with people with severe mental illness. And so, and then am caregiver of someone that has a severe disabling mental illness. And so I've been in more mental health hospitals than you would believe. And so while that heaviness of that and suffering and illness, it has been what has led me to understand a lot of chaos and bringing order and beauty despite the chaos of life.
Absolutely. So again, Christine, I think I've been on, this is my 4th year with WCEG Network, and what an honor and privilege it is to be a host for WCEG Network. But I've had you on the show, I think, each year, sometimes twice in the year. And, Sarah and I are co-founders of Women of Community Impact. And so we do a lot of collaboration and things together with the Love Box Foundation. And we are very appreciative of everything that you and your love agents have done in collaboration and camaraderie with our organization, whether it be for homeless women and children, for foster children. We just are very appreciative of that. So can you tell us what the Christmas Love Box tradition is, please?
Yes. And first, I'll just say, Celeste, thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you for giving us the platform to be able to share with so many more people. So I
Absolutely.
treasure our friendship and our collaboration as well. So thank
Absolutely. I love you,
you.
Christine.
Oh, you got the glasses. Oh, I'm in Georgia, so I don't have the glasses right now, but I have a whole collection of glasses. I'm so happy you have your lovely glasses. I'll just pretend. All right, so what is a Christmas Love Box? The Christmas Love Box is a tradition that our family started in 1999. And very briefly, it is so simple. Basically, actually, I lived in Dayton, Ohio at the time. And I was shopping with my 3 young kids. We were looking at all the stuff on the shelf to decide what the kids were going to get for Christmas that year. And this thought just popped into my head. What can I give my kids to show them how much I love them? Came home, husband and I talked about it, Bob, and we said, let's write love notes and read them out loud to our kids. So that's how it started. That's how simple it is. Write love notes to everyone in your family and friend group, and then get together, read them out loud. And so here is the, I got that funky thing going on. Let me see how it's going to go. Hold on. Let me maybe change my view because you're going to need to see that. So that is it. That first year, we started so simply, and we have done it every year since 1999. And so I am so very blessed to have all these years of love notes from my parents, brothers and sisters and friends and family. And each of my kids as well has a love box filled with how much they are loved and why specifically they are a gift to other people as well. And so it's awesome. So let me see if this works better. If not, no, we're still on blurred. Let me try one more time. I guess I have to go back to the main, like stopping any kind of virtual background first.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's try that first. None. Okay, we'll do that. There you go. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Yep, that's better. All right, so here we are. Here is the love box tradition. We have a Christmas love box, this gold love box, and then also white love box. And so this is the love box. And so what you do is we've got this beautiful little ribbon. You write the name of your name or your child's name right there. And then what's inside are love notes. And then there are different books in each one. So Love Movement has love notes for all the different groups in society that we love on. The Christmas Love Box book is there. So this has a children's story. It has a fully illustrated poems that my husband has written about the tradition. And basically it's just a beautiful, beautiful book to be able to talk about love. This is Christian because it has the Luke story in it. So it's a one-stop kind of experience in terms of celebrating Christmas, the love of God for us, and then how we can write love notes and do the love box tradition together. So yeah, that's the love box. And like you said, Celeste, we spent a long time, for 9 years, we've been writing love notes. I think our impact now is for the last 2 years that I've been keeping track of how many handwritten love notes we've written. It's over 22,000 handwritten love notes in the last 2 years. Great impact. Over 1,000. Yeah, huge. When you think, that's what we've been doing this for 9 years. That's what we've been tracking the last 2 years. And so every love box has 30 love notes in it. So we've given away over 1,000 love boxes. So that would be 30,000 love notes.
Absolutely.
So now other people are writing them, and the ripples of love are tremendous.
So what can people do to have more love during the holiday season, Christine?
Yeah, when I think about like, how would you define love? And it's defined as a noun and as a verb, right? So as a noun, it's affectionately caring for and having feelings, strong feelings for other people. And as a verb, the one definition that I really like is to hold dearly. That's in Merriam-Webster dictionary. To hold dearly and to cherish, to cherish those people. So there are any number of things that people can do to love better. I think, there's a whole myriad of things. Me coming from the perspective of expressing that love, it's to know what is it that you hold dearly about each person in your life. How are they a gift to you, and how are you a gift to them? So, I have 3 kids, and they're extremely different. I have my oldest son is a thinker. He's a reader. He's really more quiet. And then my youngest son is basically, just what's coming to mind, I'm not going to say. He's a Spitfire.
Let me give him some love, Christine.
And actually, today is Stephen's birthday, so I love you, Stephen. I love all my kids.
We love you.
But he was really a challenge to raise. There were many years that my friend Mary and I used to joke around. We're like, either he's going to be in prison or he's going to change the world. We don't know which way he's going to go. And I'm happy to say that he is changing the world now at 26 in remarkable ways. But it took a lot of training. So I would say how you can have more love is, I call it MBS. Love your mind, your body, and your social circle. And your social circle, all of those are combined. The other S is your spiritual self. Really focusing on loving your mind, training your mind, controlling your mind, slowing down your mind, whether it's through prayer, meditation, whatever. We have such a mental health crisis and loneliness epidemic in this country. And it is a lot of people thinking the wrong thoughts incessantly. And so I would say it starts with your thoughts. What are your words? What are you saying? How can you speak love? Speak love into people. And so that means really slowing down enough to be deliberate about speaking love. Not saying the first thing that jumps off your mind and you're, just spewing, being deliberate. So mind, body, loving your body, right now, because we're all connected, right? We talk about these separately, but I think we have to think of them holistically. But we have to, the MBS, mind, body, thinking about your body, making sure you get enough sleep. Sleep is so vital right now. And not eating sugar. I'm going to just come out with a very bold claim about that is cutting back. Hey, once in a while, everything in moderation, but the link between our brain and mental issues and problems and our diet is evident. It is so clear. So focusing on our body and making sure that we focus on sleep, our diet, and then getting some exercise. I tell you what, whether it's 5 minutes, doing short bursts, that is very effective, but really getting things flowing is really important for everything. And then the last one, social and spiritual. All the research shows in terms of longevity and what is important for a successful life are loving relationships. And so focusing, if we were to choose one thing, I would say focus on spreading loving relationships and working at it, not taking it for granted, not just, I love you, I love you, I love you. Well, what do you love about that person? Getting very deep and intentional. I love that you're extroverted. I love that you are rambunctious. I love that you are creative. Seeing each person as a gift and speaking love into them as the gift that they are.
Absolutely, Christine. Very, very well said. And and that mindset is so important, whether it's spreading love, but even as an individual, what you're thinking is a lot of people don't know how to control that thinking and to think in a positive, loving way. Sometimes they're quick to think in a negative, unloving way, and you have to train yourself of what you're thinking and saying at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been a corporate trainer now for decades, and it's like, we have no problem training people in leadership or conflict resolution or all these other things. And I'm like, you have got to train your brain. You've got to train your brain to be in a loving long-term relationship. If you do not, you'll say things, you'll do things that really just don't serve the relationship. So I feel strongly about that now. And Celeste, we've been through a lot of ups and downs, and now I realize how incredibly important it is to harness our love, to harness it and to release it.
Yes.
And so we need to pour love in. God pours love in as well, but we need to pour love in. So when we say wonderful, loving things to ourselves, having a mantra for the holiday season, I always strongly encourage people to have a mantra. How do you want to feel during the season? For me, what I say every morning is, I am peacefully energized and having a fun, loving time.
Absolutely.
That's like, who are you? Who are you going to be in the world, and be intentional about it? I feel strongly about that.
Absolutely. I know you have a program called Holiday 911. Have less stress and more love. What are the 3 things that people can do? And we may have just covered that, to have a joyful and loving holiday.
Yeah, there's so many things we could do. I have additional things. So first of all, what's in the holiday help checklist is every single activity that one might do during the holidays, from get and decorate the tree to having a holiday party or whatever. So we have this holiday help checklist, and I would be happy to share it with your viewers. If you just reach out to me through the loveboxfoundation.org, I would be happy to share that. So what I do is talk about having a strategic plan for the holidays. So first of all, starting so simply as asking each person in your family group, or whoever's going to be with you, what was special about last year's Christmas or last year's holiday? The other question is, what gift was meaningful to you last year? Oh my gosh, most people can't even remember what they got last year. We spent all this time and money and energy, and it's like they don't even remember. So, if you ask people, okay, well, what tradition? So when I asked my husband, this whole holiday help checklist, what one thing, pick one thing, like, let's just pick one thing. And he was like, you know what? I love the tree. I love getting the fresh tree, the smell of the fresh tree, putting the ornament. Okay, so Bob is in charge of the tree. So first of all, see what your priorities are, and then get help. So once you have what you are going to do and what you're not going to do, the checklist helps you to say, you know what, we are just crossing that off for this year. For a few years, believe it or not, I crossed off holiday cards. Well, this year I started my Christmas, but I love giving them, and I love getting beautiful cards. So I started in August this year. So my cards are almost all done. So like shifting your schedule so that you can do what's important to you and your family members. So right now I have 6 people that will be together at Christmas. So we're going to focus on those 6 things and being intentional, having fun with those 6 things, not being stressed. And I remember with the tree, I'll tell this story because I think it's really good. One year, the tree was so important to Bob. So he wanted a 12-foot tree. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. You're going to have to get up there and decorate that tree because I'm not doing all that. So we get this huge tree. Well, what we didn't realize when you get a really big tree is you have to have a straight trunk. In that tree.
Let me give Bob some love.
Our tree trunk was a little crooked. Don't you know, Celeste and Tina, that tree fell and broke so many precious ornaments that we had collected through the years. So what I talk about is that core trunk or your foundation has got to be clear. You've got to be strong. You've got to be straight. What is the reason for the season? For me, being a Christian, it really is to love God, to honor that he came to us, and to love one another.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, my kids, so all the decisions that come down from that are simplified. So we do the love box tradition. I put more energy into the love box tradition every year. What foods we're gonna have, what experiences what music we're gonna play, all that than I do with buying their gifts.
Absolutely.
Because that's what's important to me, right? So being clear and intentional is good to, to do that. So I had said 3 things. So first of all, what are your priorities? What you're going to say yes to, what you're going to say no to. The second thing is alter any expectations that are unrealistic. We pile these expectations, and I've talked to so many people throughout so many years. So many people are disappointed from Thanksgiving to Christmas, or just overwhelmed and miserable because they want things to be a certain way and they're not. So altering expectations, and then I would say accept what is. Love people right where they are. What person's going to come to your holiday party having, serious issues. Who's going to be firing things up. What you know. And so just accept it for what it is and then make the best of it.
Absolutely, Christine. We have some of our own traditions, and the day after Thanksgiving, Mike and I put that tree up, and it's a cardinal tree. And my grandmother Quinn started collecting cardinals, and when she passed on, all of us have cardinal trees and things of this nature, but we have carried that tradition on. And so to my aunts and my cousins and them, I give a cardinal gift every year to them. And so we have collected these gifts over the years. But, Mike and I, for putting up that tree, this past weekend, we just put our electronic devices to the side. We played our Christmas music. We took our time decorating the tree. We didn't go nowhere. And that's what we do over Thanksgiving weekend after Thanksgiving, is to do that. And it's a thing of love. It really is, because Mike does a majority of the work. He says, all I do is here's the ornament. Here's the ornament. He's carrying stuff down from the attic. And can you open the door? Yeah, I can open the door.
But Celeste, what you just said, you are slowly enjoying the season. I think about it, like when we slow down, everything right now for our kids and for us are right at our fingertips in our devices. Our brains are overloaded, and yet we have everything and everybody right at that device. However, loneliness is skyrocketing, and all these mental health issues are skyrocketing. 1 in 8 teenagers is attempting suicide. What are we doing wrong? We are focusing on so many things that don't matter.
Exactly.
So we need to do a U-turn, not focus on all the external trappings, and turn inward to the spirit and what the reason for the season really is. And in every religion, it's always about family being together. It's always about love and being respectful and celebrating the joy of family and friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and then also take into consideration those around you that maybe don't have family, Christine. There are a lot of people that don't have family that travel to see them, or they don't have family, period. And so that's a special thing as well to Mike and I. We've always opened our homes up for Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas dinners, because there are a lot of people that are by themselves.
Yes. The greatest gift you can give to anyone is your love.
Absolutely.
And that's why, like with the Love Box Foundation, we are so full up of spreading love. It's like, and our busiest times are November and December. And I think about it, it's like we're going to walk in the Buford holiday parade, and then we're going to have a love hut where all the kids and families come and write love notes to each other and then start the tradition. We'll have a build a love box station there. So that's one event. Then we have, women we do this every year, women who have been, who are in mental health facilities. We bring them out of the facilities. They get their hair done. We partner with a stylist, and they get their hair done, and they get whatever they want done. And then we give them love box kits. It is the only thing they have for their families.
Yes.
The only thing they have is the tradition. And I think, like we've got to give back. And then we give to children who are in need. And there's going to be like a skating party where the kids can come in and shop for their parents. And we are going to be giving away, I think, and working a station there for 50 children to get love box kits so that they can become love agents in their family. And we can pour love into them. I mean, we do this all year long, year after year after year, and it just keeps growing. And I'm so honored to see how the love agents, I mean, I'm one person, I get to be the spokesperson, but the love agents take it and they spread the love, and these ripples of love just keep happening. So we've got to keep reaching out. There are so many hurting people who need the love that only you have to give. That's what I think we have to understand, is that we have this gift of love to share. And if you don't share it, that person that's a recipient of it won't get it. So we all need to open our heart more and more and more. And like I said earlier, have that compassion in action.
Absolutely. So we have about 14 minutes left in the show. And I know something that's very passionate for you as well as for me is what are the top 3 things people could do to protect their mental health during the holidays? I know I have a blog coming out. Not sure if it's this week or next week that's coming out about it. But, what are your thoughts on that, Christine?
Yeah. Well, I think you should go first. You already wrote the blog about it.
No. Well, the big thing is you cannot look at somebody and tell if they have a mental issue. And that's why it's so important to be aware of the people, of your surroundings, and checking in on people, spending time with people, visiting with people, and just picking up the phone. I mean, that is something that's huge for me, is to pick up the phone. I make it a point every day that I make anywhere from 6 to 10 phone calls a day. 3 of them are business, 3 of them are personal, and some of them are more than that. And it's not about doing business with me or anything like that. It's how are you? How are things going? And and you can tell, you can sense in somebody's emotion and their voice. And you know these people. You can know when something's not right. And so I just think it's important just to pick up the phone and make some phone calls every single day and check in on people. And just like the neighbors, a lot of the times we live in a cul-de-sac that we've been here for 32 years. We have some elderly people. We walk over and Mike makes cookies and I go deliver them to the neighborhoods, or, he cooks something and I go check in. How are you? Or the little neighborhood kids, they come out. Hey, Celeste, let's go play basketball. I want to take you out. Okay, take me out. Let's go.
I love that.
You go have fun with them. But just checking in, is a huge thing. So that's one thing that I instill in a lot of my clients, is to make phone calls every day and check in on people, not just personal, business. And it can also be calling your local community people that are, whether it's a women's shelter or a foster home or something. What do you need? Do you need any help? You need somebody to come, read to the children this week. You need somebody to come talk to the women about self-esteem or self-confidence. There's always a need, and very seldom will any of these organizations turn you down to come pay. That, Christine, we do this a lot, and I know Tina does it a lot with her and her husband with the inter-community children. So that's so important. The gift of time, like you said, it's important.
Absolutely. Yeah, Celeste, I love all that. And, I love your heart back, people. And, putting on those love glasses, right? Like seeing what the need is, like everyone, there is needs all around you. And I always say to people, like people say, well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, then you're not looking hard enough.
Yes.
You're not seeing. If you don't see, you're not looking. You need to see, because I can guarantee you talk to 1 or 2 people and you will find someone who has a mental illness, and you will find someone who has some kind of crisis in their life. So you need to open your heart a little bit more and see what is right in front of you. And, I just think that there are so many people hurting out there. So, yeah, but to add, I think, you're talking about calling people, and I love that. And what I say to people is write a love note every single day. It sounds like a bold claim, right? It takes you maybe 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. And I can guarantee you, when someone gets a love note in the mail where you talk about why you love them and how they're a gift to you, you will have given them a gift that they will treasure forever.
Absolutely.
And I just think about the kids in the schools that we serve. And they're texting and everything's so immediate, and it's like everything is just flying by them. And they're like, Miss Christine, I hung that love note up on my mirror. I have that love note in my wallet. It is a treasured gift. So I tell people, write a love note every day. And here's the other flip side of it. All the research shows that when you personally write the love note, there's health benefits for you, there's mental benefits for you, and it opens up your own heart. So the benefits are for you too. Like when we serve, we benefit ourselves. So I say, write a love note every day. And then the other thing about the mental health is, I would say find somebody who is in need, find someone who has a mental health issue. The stigma is so unbearably heavy on people's backs. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want anybody to know about it. Well, what I have found is that there are so many people with mental illness right now. I think it's the latest. I can't remember exactly if it's 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 people. I think it's 1 in 4 now after COVID. But anyway, it's a lot. And so, we have to lift that stigma. We have to talk about it. We have to just support people. And I always say, you know what? If you know anybody who has a mental health issue, bring the casserole.
Yeah.
Nobody brings the casserole for mental health crisis. I was dealing with, my husband had stage 4 cancer, and I was dealing with a loved one that had severe mental illness, and I was going from hospital to hospital to hospital. Can't begin to tell you, cancer. Oh man, we had everything: flowers, alcohol, meals. Mental health crisis, nothing. Why is that? I challenge every single person that is listening today to find someone who is either experiencing a mental health problem, or call up your local mental health hospital, behavioral health hospital, and say, what can I do to for those people? They can't accept anything with strings because they're afraid they're going to commit suicide. They have to have, everything has to be soft cover. This Love Movement book is designed so it can go into a mental health hospital. And I mean, we have every single area of society, police officers, doctors, nurses, mental health people experiencing mental health issues, and their caregivers. Caregivers are so silent sufferers that are working so hard behind the scenes. And everybody just assumes that the family is going to handle it. Well, the family, they are not psychiatrists nor psychologists. It's just the system has failed us, and we need to do a lot more, because cancer, I don't want anybody to have to deal with cancer, but if you were to compare cancer to mental illness, cancer has a lot more support and research, and it's just so far ahead. So anyway, reach out to somebody, make the casserole, lasagna, whatever you're gonna, cookies. I will suspend the sugar judgment for a moment.
Absolutely. And we want to give a big shout out to caregivers, because it takes a unique individual. I was on the phone with my cousin yesterday, and he and I were talking about caregiving, and his wife was with her elderly parents. They're going to have to start helping with the caregiving, and it takes a unique individual to be a caregiver. And we're very blessed that we have an amazing caregiver that helps us with our mom in Tennessee. And she's an amazing lady. And but not everybody can be a caregiver. But there are ways that you can show your love and care.
Absolutely.
right there.
Absolutely.
And I want to give a shout out, and I know this, we were talking about mental health because we're about 6 minutes, but I do want to give a testimonial because this is another area that people don't realize. During the month of November, Mike and I have attended 4 funerals. Okay. And Christine, you and I have we have a mutual friend that lost her husband to pancreatic cancer, and you had gifted them this love box. And at their memorial, and then where they had some food and gathering and social time after the funeral, they had the love box there where people could write a love note to this individual or to his spouse or whatever. And I mean, people were just grabbing the love notes, writing the love notes to leave in that box for his wife and stuff. And
That's
it was a beautiful
beautiful.
testament, Christine. And neither one of us knew where that was going, but it served very, very well. Right there.
Yeah. And she also, I contacted her when I heard about the cancer because I've been through and I get it. It's so hard. Every crisis is hard. And so the 6 weeks prior, while her husband was ill, she had, over 100 love notes where when people would come to visit, they would write a memory or something that they loved about him. And so now she has this box full of all the memories and the love that all these people collectively have for him. And I think that's what the beauty of it is. We're not talking about just reading a little note, you and alone. When we are talking about a group experience of love and bringing community together and strengthening that bond. And, we have to build stronger communities. That is what gets us through. And when I think about how Jesus sent us out, he sent the disciples out 2 by 2.
Two.
Nobody was
Absolutely.
alone.
So we have a couple of minutes left. Christine, how can people get started with a love box tradition in their family, school, or group?
Yeah, here's the thing. You could go to loveboxfoundation.org if you want to do anything charitable. We are all about trying to spread it with as many children in schools as possible. Schools are doing the love box tradition where the kids in the classroom, everybody writes a love note to everybody else, then they read it out loud. Totally changes the classroom environment, totally gives these kids more value and feeling like they are seen and heard. It's just tremendous. I am so excited about what's ahead because we have so many opportunities and it works. Proof is in the love box. So they can get started either by going there if they want to do something charitably, or if they want to purchase love boxes to give to their own family. I would love if everyone does it this year. It's originallovebox.com, and they can purchase love boxes to do with their own family and friend groups, or in their church groups. We have had it used as prayer boxes. It just goes on and on because you can't hold love in a box, right?
That's right. Absolutely. What a wonderful show here today, Christine and Tina. For our audience, would you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you, Tina, one as well, please?
TinaNeely.com.
Okay. And that's Bacon Loves Everyone, and be looking for that book release hopefully in the first of the year. So that's very, very positive. I can't wait to get our copy for it, and I want to get some for our nieces and nephews. It's a beautiful story. And and just one last thing, we have 2 minutes. What's your one takeaway for today, Christine, that you want to send a message out to our audience?
I would say that you are dearly loved. You are adored. You have been created for this time and this place. You have work to do. You have love to share. And I would say, jump in and love somebody more than what you are right now.
Very
so
good.
Keep on loving. Do more.
Do more. Tina, how about you?
Well, first off, I thank you for the opportunity to be with Christian women that have no problem talking about their love of Jesus and just the love of love. I agree wholeheartedly with what Christina had to say. from the mental health part on through. And the more we give of ourselves, the more complete we will feel and the more you'll want to do it. Like, I look forward to the opportunity to help people because it's kind of selfish because you feel so good when you do it. And so when you have an opportunity to be there for somebody, be there.
Absolutely. And again, just make sure that you look around, make some phone calls, reach out to some people, let those people know how much they are loved, and be the one to be a good listener. That's why God gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen to when you talk to people, let them talk to you and share their heart, because our heart loves their heart, and sometimes they don't feel loved. And if you don't allow them to have a voice, then you're never going to know how their heart is feeling right now. And so with that, I close this show. I wish each and every one of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for blessing me and WCEG with your presence, your friendships, your camaraderie, and most importantly, happy birthday to Jesus Christ, because Jesus is the reason for the season. We love you.
Wow.
Bye-bye. I'll put my glasses on. I love each and every one of you. Thank you, WCEG.
Thank you.